is not yet on functions. We're hopefully going to get to a little bit of functions today. I'm hoping we'll have time, because I'd like to really get through things so that we're in a good spot. I know that we're not going to have to rush. Okay, representing relations. So we're going to look at a bunch of different ways to represent relations. So a relationship, or a relation, is just like a relationship. It's connecting two things together. So here's some vocabulary, and I really suggest you write down these 3 definitions. Okay, so I will give you a little bit of time to write them down. I do think you should write them. So a set is a collection of distinct objects. An element of a set is one object in the set. And a relation associates the elements of one set to the elements of another. Okay, those are 3 words that you should be pretty familiar with, and some of them are more obvious than others. Like set maybe kind of feels obvious. Okay, that a set of something is just a collection of objects. So, for instance, you could make up a lot of sets, but down here at the bottom, you have the set of fruit. Okay, we have a set of fruit, so we list apple, blueberry, cherry, huckleberry. Okay, those are 4 types of fruit. That's a set. Okay, you can make up a set of anything. I could say the set of students in my class, and it would be all your guys' names. Okay, or I could say the set of 4-legged animals, and list a bunch of 4-legged animals. Yeah, I could do a set of tons of different things. And a lot of the time in math, we don't do sets of words, we do sets of numbers. So we would just have a set, and we would have the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in it. Okay. Last unit, we talked about the set of natural numbers. That's what we were talking about, right? What set does this number belong to? And you say, oh, it's a natural number, and it's an integer, and it's a whatever. Those are sets. Okay, so an element is any of the objects in the set. So, for instance, blueberry would be an element in the set of fruit. Okay, that's how we would just phrase it. It's an element. And that's when we get later on into domain and range, we use the term element, we use the symbol for it. So the first sentence, a set is a collection of distinct objects. There's one word in there that I would expect people to maybe not know or not be sure about. I'm sure you've heard it before. But the word distinct. Does anyone know what distinct means? If I say that the objects have to be distinct? Specific. Kind of. Is someone knocking?
I don't see anyone.
Okay. Okay, does anyone know what distinct means?
I do, don't know how to explain it.
It is hard to explain a little bit. Do you have an idea? Specific is kind of like, it's kind of there. We're getting towards it. It really means that you can tell them apart, like they're different. So a specific thing, distinct, if you tell somebody that they're distinct, it means they stand out. So it means that you can tell all the elements apart, that you're not going to have a bunch of things in the set that are the same. So if I'm listing a set of numbers, I wouldn't list 1 10 times, because then I wouldn't be able to tell all the ones apart. Okay, so that's what distinct means. It just means different, or being able to tell them apart. Okay, a relation then, so a relation, the last word, and this is a really important word, it associates the elements of one set with elements of another. So that table down at the bottom on the left, that's a table of values. Sometimes they get called, although those aren't values, really, those are words. But it's a table. You've seen lots of tables before. This is representing a relation. It's associating fruits with their colors. Okay, so the reason apple is there twice is because we could have a red apple or you could have a green apple. And you could even, have a yellow apple. You could keep adding them in. And it goes on from there. Okay, so it's all related. Now on the right, this is another way to write a relation. And it's probably one you've never seen before. Okay, it's called an arrow diagram. So you can see on the left, we have our fruits. Now you notice apple, hopefully you notice apple isn't there twice. Okay? Yeah, that's right. It draws a line to 2 different things. So we see apple has one line that goes to green and one line that goes to red. I might zoom in on that so people can see it better. Okay, so you're going to have to draw these, and they should look like this. I have a lot of students who draw them differently and lose points. So on the left, you put the things that are in the left side of the chart. right? You write them all out. You don't write them twice if they're there more than once. You put a circle around them. You put the items on the right.
Oh, so that circle is necessary?
Yep. You put the circle around them. Then you draw your arrows. Now you notice that these arrows aren't two-sided arrows. Okay, a lot of people, I'll get them and they'll be like this. Okay, and I'll take off half a point. Okay, they're not two-sided things.
Are there points for drawing this correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one of these on the quiz for sure. Okay, and you'll also notice that up at the top, okay, up at the top there's a little sentence kind of thing, or partial fragment of a sentence. So it's like a title, but it should work, and sometimes it's hard to do. I'm not super picky about it if it doesn't work perfectly, but it should kind of work to make a sentence. So I can say, apple may have the color green. Apple may have the color red. Okay? And that's making a kind of like a little sentence, and it doesn't have to, like that, even that sentence doesn't grammatically flow very well, but something that kind of makes sense, that you're saying, this has the color this.
Do we have to draw an arrow under it?
You should, yeah, but I mean, again, I might not be that picky, but it's good to have it there. Okay? It should look exactly like this. So this is called an arrow diagram. And we will practice them, don't worry too much.
Does it matter which way the arrows like?
They have to go from left to right.
Okay.
Okay? So here, this is an example of a problem. Communities can be associated with the territories they're in. Consider the relation represented in the table. So we have a relationship there. We have the communities, so we have Hay River, Iqaluit, Nanisivik, Old Crow, Whitehorse, and Yellowknife. And we have the territories that they're in. So they're in NWT, Nunavut, Yukon, NWT. Okay, so to describe this relation in words, that, honestly, I'm not looking for much here. This is pretty much already there, but just say communities related to their territories, or the territory they are in. Okay, so I'm not looking for like a crazy sentence. You're not like rewriting, don't remake the wheel here. You're just pretty much saying what they said. So don't overthink it. You're not going to be asked that very often, and just try to keep it as basic as possible when you are asked it. Okay? So 2B here, it asks us to do two different things. It says, write it as a set of ordered pairs. You've done that before, even if you don't remember it. Okay? And as an arrow diagram. Okay? So a set of ordered pairs has a really specific notation. So this is the part that I'm saying a lot of people feel like it's not very mathy, but it does have like a really specific way you should be doing it. So let's look at how it should look. You should have a curly bracket, which is not something that a lot of people like, and some people will say, oh, I can't draw that, and I'll say, well, you better try. Okay, so even if it's not very good, it's fine. So a curly bracket should look something like that. I just did it with a stylus, and it worked out okay, so you can manage it with a pencil. Okay, so it's one of those looking things. Yeah, and it's okay if it looks kind of funky, like if you just have like a weird wiggly line, fine. Okay, every year I have students who complain that they can't do it, so it's fine. Then you just list them as pairs. So Hay River goes with NWT. So you write it like this. You write bracket, just a normal bracket, Hay River, comma, NWT. Bracket. Okay? So you write it just like that. Okay, then you put a comma. At the very end you will. Okay, and then we'll write the next one. We'll write Iqaluit. Oops, I'm writing Iqaluit wrong. Iqaluit, Nunavut. I'll just write NU for Nunavut. Okay, and close the bracket.
So would we get points off if we don't like do this correctly?
Yes. It should look exactly like this, which is why I'm doing it. And it does take a little bit of time, and it's kind of tedious, especially when there's words. When there's numbers, it's a lot easier, because you just have to write the numbers in. Yukon Territory, a Whitehorse, Yukon Territory, and Yellowknife, NWT. Okay, so if I ask you to write a set of ordered pairs, that's what it should look like. So it should start and end with a curly bracket, and inside each pair should go together in a set of normal brackets separated by a comma. So this is just like when you list coordinates on a graph. Okay, it's exactly the same. Like, you know, if you have a point 2, 3 on a graph, you'd write it 2, 3, like that. This is the same. Okay, it's just, it's words instead. So we're having these words in it.
So will we ever have numbers in this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually easier, well, for me it's easier once I get to numbers. Some people might really prefer words, depending on how much you like numbers. But so it's just like this. It's pretty straightforward. So just have an example written down with you so that you know what to do when it's asked of you. It's not hard, but it does have a specific way to be written. Okay, now let's do an arrow diagram for this. So the arrow diagram, I write down all the communities. So I have Hay River,